Hi, my name is Vicki, and I'm trying to recreate what was seen on a Gamma Elevate group where we could not set the boundary so little. And what happened is I was able to recreate it and it went to infinity. So unfortunately, it does not work when you set it at a half an inch or smaller. So it's a bug, but there is a workaround. Make the boundary bigger. So what I did was I went in and I made the boundary 3.5 by 20 inches wide, 20 inches being half of my quilt, so I could do the math easier. So you make sure that your X and your Y stay the same. In this case, I wanted my boundary 3.5 inches tall by 20 inches wide. So I hit my boundary and I created that, and it goes into our patterns. Now I picked this pattern, 6 inches by 1 inch, and it filled the space as Elevate will do with one repeat, and that pattern is 20 inches wide. So what you can do is go in and reduce the size of that design to say 4 by 6, okay, or 4 by 5, and then increase the repeats. So then you can take the entire thing and squish it down to 20 inches. And you notice in the circle, it is now 4 inches by 1 inch, or 5 inches by 1 inch, and the repeats are 4. So it fits in that 20 inches, but the pearls are not round anymore. So what I really want to do is I want to change the size, or the width, I should say, to 4, and then the repeats to 5. Still fills that 20-inch space very nicely. Okay, so then we hit the check mark, and we need to place this design on the quilt. Right now, that's where the crosshairs are also where the machine is, and it's not right. I want it way over to the side of the quilt to go across. So the starting point on this particular design is in the middle. So I'm going to bring my machine head over to the middle of that skinny border, and I'm going to relocate to the beginning of that pattern, or to the start of the pattern. Then it was a little bit too low for me, so I did another repeat in the middle of the design to align it to the top of that skinny border. Okay? If you make a mistake and the crosshairs go high, just make sure that you're just going straight up and down, so that x-axis should be at 0 all the time. Then you can increase or decrease with your two fingers on the tablet so that you can get a closer view of the design to make sure it is in fact where you want it and it's lined up on your quilt where you want it. So at this point, my crosshairs and my quilt are aligned, and I can start quilting. Now I would slow down the speed of your quilting and have your hands in there moving things around. This particular design had a lot of overstitching, so it wasn't the best design for this technique. However, I was just trying to give you a visual on how I would solve the problem of getting a design in a tiny border using only the Elevate. And remember, you can relocate at any time, but in this case, I went through the entire stitching out, and I want to place another round of 20 in there. So I I select the end of the previous and use that as my starting or the start of the next pattern. So now it's placed perfectly right after the design. So then I can stitch out for another 20 inches and complete the skinny quilting on my quilt without using CS7. I hope this was helpful. If it is, go out to Kick It Up Quilting and subscribe or join my Facebook page where I'll have more tips and tricks. Have a wonderful day. This is Vicki signing off.